User-generated content. With the easy access to video equipment and the rise of sites like YouTube, you see more and more user-generated content on the web and being consumed. Do you see that as a fad that is restricted more to internet-based sites, or is that a real content source that could be pushed out through these new channels in the future?
Yeah, user-generated content is really interesting, right? Because the last number that I saw was that 20,000 hours of fresh content were uploaded to YouTube every day. Every day. And most of that is of absolutely no interest to anyone except the person who's uploading it and his or her friends. Every so often, you know, there's a gem and the gem gets passed around, but even if it's something as cool as the Where's Matt dancing video or the evolution of dance, you know, it's not totally clear that that's a business. Maybe it can be sponsored, etc. I do think, you know, what the user-generated movement has done is kind of brought a freedom to the content community and made it clear that it's possible to create pretty vital episodic content on low budgets and without all that much attention to production values. So you have someone like Smosh, which is really, you know, a couple of kids up in Sacramento, California, that starting out as user-generated content are now something like the number 2 or 3 most widely viewed channel on YouTube, right? And there are other situations like that where there's actually been business rationalization put around it, right? Lonely Girl started perhaps in that direction. Prom Queen from Michael Eisner's company certainly moved in that direction. Fred is another one that moved in that direction. By and large, I think the ability to take that stuff and immediately say, oh, that could be a movie or that could be a TV series is probably not the case. But I do think there's sort of a new category of short-form stuff that that's pretty vital that will live online and on cross-platform.
Mm-hmm. So looking into the future, if you had a crystal ball and you're thinking about mobile and content moving between these different devices in the future, where do you see the market heading?
I see it as part of an interconnected ecosystem. I think that, you know, even the term mobile is a little bit vague right now, because initially mobile referred to kind of the legacy of telecom and the wireless business and certain walled gardens that carriers created and certain data plans, and that isn't even exactly the way it is now since Apple and the App Store opened up development and since the iPhone really changed people's emotional relationship to their phones, right? I mean, people play with these apps in behaviors that were unheard of just 3 years ago. Today, you know, mobile may refer to simply devices that are untethered that you can walk around with. I think it's sort of most instructive to look at mobile and online and linear content delivery all as aspects of the same system, and to say that the success in the future is going to be about finding a consumer-friendly way, a way that puts the consumer first, for people to touch what they need to touch in the moment that means the most to them, right? Mobile is, by and large, because of the smallness of the screen, going to be about immediacy. And I think, you know, the great big production values and the great big enterprises that you see built around big-time content, you may want people who have that available on mobile, but I think they'll largely be watched elsewhere. Mobile is, I think, about connectivity and immediacy.
Do you think the impact of people consuming content on different devices will actually have a trickle-down effect into how the content's produced, the different length of time? Traditionally, you've had content based on slots with traditional TV and linear format, but with people consuming snippets here and there, you've used the word snacking before, about 25 to 30 minutes on average of FLO TV subscribers consuming content today. Do you see it actually potentially shifting the way that content's produced and distributed? Yeah,
I think that's a really good point, and it kind of connects back to the question about user-generated too. You're right. On FLO TV, our average viewership minutes per day is 25 to 30 minutes per day, people watching on our platform, which is an extremely high ratio for a mobile platform, and it reflects the fact that, you know, we just deliver an extremely clear picture, and our signal actually does not go through the 3G network. It's a broadcast overlay, and it's a very positive viewing experience. But our viewing experience too is defined by people's opportunities to watch. And in that sense, it's the case that typically a mobile opportunity watch might be 6 minutes at a time. It might be more, it might be less. If you look at it that way, for something that's live, people are going to tune in just to make sure they don't miss a point, they don't miss a minute, right? They don't miss the 3-point shot or whatever it is. So that's one thing. But for things that are created in a storytelling vein, episodic vein, I think you're correct that some of the webisode length, mobisode length things are going to continue to be explored because it is possible to have like the entire meal in a short viewing experience, which is a positive.
What advice would you give an MBA considering moving into this space in the future?
First off, I think it's an incredibly exciting time and an incredibly exciting place to be. I think the media business is really incredibly dynamic and filled with extremely creative people. I think you need to be a flexible thinker. Things are going to change at an incredible rate. Business models are going to change. Regimes are going to change. Organizations are going to change. And I think as well, the ability to listen, the ability to be open to great ideas wherever they're coming from, whether it's a creative pitch that's coming from somebody that you don't expect to hear it from, or whether it's a business suggestion that's coming from an unanticipated direction, is going to be critical. As I said, looking at the space, I see it as being very fluid between mobile, online, digital, linear, traditional, whatever it is that you want to call it. I think it's really all of a piece. Technology makes it easy to move content around one way to the other, one platform to the other. And I think that lends itself to a certain fluidity of thinking and a certain openness to change.
Well, Jonathon, on behalf of the Center for Digital Strategies at SUC, I'd like to thank you again for flying all the way from Los Angeles and sharing your thoughts and experience. I'm sure our listeners today are deeply indebted for your insights and experience in the field. This has been John with the Center for Digital Strategies at SUC School of Business.
Thank you.